Hey guys, it's Guthrie's Auto Repair, and today I've got a Volkswagen Beetle. The customer complaint is that the AC is not working. So first things first is I'm going to verify the concern that we're not getting an AC, and then check for codes and see what's going on. Nothing. Just warm, sort of cool, since it is a cool day today. And we've got multiple codes here that we need to look into. P068A and P0106 could possibly be related. 01314. Engine control module again. So the climate control module, this would be related to our AC. We have a high pressure sensor with an open or short to ground, which actually looks like our problem here, because if the high pressure sensor is not able to receive power, it's going to inhibit the compressor from coming on. Now the customer has stated their AC is charged already and they've had it checked. Rear window defogger, short to plus, probably short to power. Crash sensor for front airbag, front passenger side, short circuit to ground. Now they did say that this vehicle was in a wreck before. That could be the reason why that code is being set. To me already, I can tell you that 00819 high pressure sensor, the fact that there's an open or short to ground, might be somewhere that I would want to start. I'm going to go ahead and go over to ProDemand, and we're going to look up the wiring schematic for this high pressure sensor. We've got brown, green-brown, and black-green wires on the sensor. This is our high pressure sensor right here on this line. The vehicle was hit in this location, and you can kind of see where there's some scrapes and some bends and whatnot. So this is suspect, and the wires are probably were damaged in that accident. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug this and see if we can get some voltage, ground, and signal. Here I've got the vehicle running, and I'm pinned on the pin number 1, which is the ground, and I've got no ground. Pin 2, I've got nothing, and pin 3, I have nothing as well. Pin 2 and 3 lead back to the climatronic control module. Your power is on pin 3, so pin 2 I'm not going to read anything because that signal is supposed to be a return back to the climatronic control module. But the fact that we don't have power or ground, reasonably, you know, in reality, I think that there is a break in the wiring, considering the fact that this vehicle has been in an accident before. Our high pressure sensor has the green and black, which is our power, and green and black also runs up to fuse 13. So I'm going to test fuse 13 for power on both sides. And this power probe is quite nice because it tells you when it senses power and ground. And we've got power 11.9. I've got the blower motor turned on with the AC button pressed as well, so 11.9. That means we've got power. From some point between that fuse and to the wire running to the high pressure sensor right there, there's a break in the wire. That should be having power no matter what, because that fuse to that wire, pin 3 on there, is a straight shot. I went ahead and took the windshield wiper neck out. As I'm looking, I find a split and I see some corrosion, and this one just got really good. I was able to find that this wiring harness was pressed up against that piece of metal back here, and it split it. Just the 3 wires. That's so weird that it just broke all 3 of those wires and none of the other wires in this harness. This is so awesome. I'm glad I was able to find this. I will test these wires and make sure that they have power and ground, and what I'll do is kind of make a little makeshift jump to the other wires down here that lead to this sensor, plug everything up, and see if our AC starts working. Green black wire is supposed to have power. Come on, I can't get a good contact on there. So that's good. We can test our ground side of the circuit, which is our brown wire, and it's going to read negative, 0. And then our signal wire, we shouldn't be reading anything. It's not going to say a full ground because that is going back to the module itself. So that module is looking for that signal from the high pressure switch to allow the AC to kick on and start working. I got all those wires peeled back and I've got them tied together. This is not how I'm gonna leave the wiring, but I'm gonna go ahead and plug in this connector and we're gonna start the vehicle and see if the AC actually kicks on now. Okay, still not feeling cold air yet. So let's check and see, now that the high pressure sensor is plugged in, we might be able to get an idea of how much pressure is in the system actually. Got it running right now and it still doesn't feel like it's blowing cold air. My only other thing is that I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to check for pressure. Even though the customer said that it has been recharged, I think it would be a good idea to double check our charge on the AC system. Okay, I got the pressure gauges hooked up. The AC is kicking on. It's actually blowing cold on the passenger side, but not on the driver's side. Today it's about a 70-degree day, and on the high side we're reading about 100. On the low side we're reading about 15 PSI. Let's make sure the charge is up, because it needs to be about 145, 150 on the high side, and about 35, 40 on the low side on a day like today. I got all 3 wires connected up, tested for power, ground, and signal. Then next we're going to recharge the AC since it was a little low and see how it does blowing cold air on the driver's side. I got the vehicle running and the AC high side line hooked up, and we're still reading about 100 PSI on the high side, which is low on a 70-degree day. It is reading low. We should be reading about 145 to 160 on the high side while we're charging. So I just did about 10 or 11 seconds of pumping in there. And it says it's filled, but I actually want to go based off of this gauge because I feel like it would be more accurate. And actually we're almost right where we need to be. I think that'll be ideal right there. 150 PSI is good. Nice and cold. Perfect. So it was just the wire, the 3 wires that were broken, and the customer said that the AC was charged, but it was just a little underfilled, or there's a possibility that there might be a leak. So you can hear the compressor cycling on and off and watch the gauge drop, and then whenever it kicks back on you can see it go back up to 150 PSI. Well, we got the car fixed and it is blowing cold air. It was a good fix. I'm glad we were able to find the wires that were broken in it, and they are repaired now. The AC was still not blowing cold on the driver's side. I found that it was blowing cold on the passenger side but not the driver's side. So then I knew that we needed to check the charge on the system and found that it was about 20 to 30 PSI low. And now it is blowing cold. I'm so glad I got to fix this and find this today. And I'm glad to do a repair for somebody that's not gonna break the bank like at the dealership. The codes are gone, that wiring repair is done, and I'm just happy that I was able to fix it for them.